cool because you go to the rehearsals and the band practice, you remember, fucked up old tune.
All right, B, whenever you're ready.
The Black Lung, the Black Lung Show, 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 and starting fucking now.
That's right. You're listening to the Black Lung Show on the world famous chaoticradio.com. We have the .com back. I've been gone for a little while. It's good to be back with you guys. Oh, it feels good to be back here in the Church of Rock and Roll. And I'm really excited today because I've got a special guest here that I've been wanting to talk to for a little while. Before I introduce him, I want to say what's up to my main man, B. B, thanks for being back here again. I missed you, brother. How you been?
Busy.
Busy. What you been up to, man? Where have you been? I know you're always around the world, dude. Where you been this time?
Just got back from Hawaii, actually.
Hawaii.
Yeah, I went out there just to relax and have a good time.
There wasn't a big festival or anything like that?
Not at all, actually. I went to do nothing, and I had the best time ever doing it.
Sweet. Did you actually do nothing, or did you actuing do any Hawaii type shit like swim the sea turtles?
No, I got a sunburn. That's legit.
You got a sunburn?
I got sunburn.
Fuck yeah. That's badass, B.
But legit, I my best day was my Sunday last week, and I sat there, I watched football, took a nap, watched more football, and found some beers. It was the best thing ever.
Right on. Well, I miss that. I miss drinking beers. So, no, I really do. I mean, if you walk in the studio, you can see the poster of me, and then there's me with a tall boy there. And for people that have been listening to the show, again, I thank you guys for tuning in. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. Life's been hectic and busy. Today's show, we're going to actually touch on that. I've been talking about it for the last few months. Today, I have 5 months and 2 days. I'm not counting, but 5 months and 2 days sober.
Hey!
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't, if you're listening to, because a lot of my friends that listen to this show, all the bands and stuff like that, I'm not preaching. You know what I mean? If you can drink, God bless you. I really wish I could. I wish I could. But there's certain people that can, and there's certain people that can't, and I'm one of those motherfuckers that can't. In fact, over the weekend, I was just I kill bugs for a living, right? I manage a pest control company because punk rock doesn't pay the bills for shit. But I was at a convention out in Pasadena, and God damn it, man. The one of the fumigation companies had like rented out the bar, and all the drinks were free, and I'm sitting there with a virgin fucking strawberry fucking a mojito or something, and everyone's looking at me and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Well, dude, I used to be cool. I used to drink, not anymore." But it was weird because one, I was looking at my phone and I was like, "Fuck, have you ever felt like you're in a room full of people and you're just fucking lonely as shit and depressed as all hell, and you just like, fuck, I don't fit in," kind of the punk rock thing, right? And so I was sitting there like, damn, this sucks. And I realized one thing. One is that I wish there was someone sober that I could have been kicking it with. So I texted my guitar player who's actually got a little over 10 years sober. And he's just like, he's like, dude, just call me if you need it. And just that message just made me feel better. What I was saying too, for anybody, look, I'm not preaching. You guys do whatever the fuck you want, especially if you watch the show and you've seen all the beer cans and everything over the years, I've got 27 years not sober, and so this is all still fucking brand new to me. And anyway, I met my buddy in a program, which I guess, I don't know, as I'm learning, I'm not supposed to talk about what program that is. It doesn't fucking matter what program. If you need it, there's shit out there, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that later, but. That was cool, man. I was texting my guitar player. He's like, just call me if you need it, and I realized, I was like, it wasn't that I needed the alcohol. It's like these other people needed the alcohol because they were fucking boring. Oh, my God, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm raised different, you know what I mean? I was raised in San Bernardino, and if you don't know where that's at, that's like the armpit of California. Just fucking a hellhole, right? And they took me out to dinner, and we went to this fancy steakhouse where the steaks were like $75 a steak.
Damn.
And I was mad. I was like, why the fuck would anybody spend $75 on a goddamn steak? They were bringing out bottles of wine and fucking swirling it around and smelling the goddamn caps. And I'm like, who the fuck does this shit? You know what I mean? Like, I was sitting there and I was looking at, and I was raised, my mama raised me right. I was looking at the prices in the menu. I'm like, God damn. And, I'm not trying to order like the most expensive shit, but everything was fucking expensive. And I was just texted my guitar player. I was like, man, fuck, this sucks. And he's like, ah, just wait till you get home. So anyway, that was my wonderful fucking weekend. But hey, I didn't drink, and I feel good. Anyway, I missed you guys. It's been a couple weeks since I've done the show. Lot of new things are going on with Chaotic Radio. We're going to be getting into that. I got some big announcements we're going to get into. One I'll tease you right now, October 5th. And B, this is the first time he's going to hear it, so even he's going to hear this, I got some cool fucking punk rock shit happening for the station. Sellout Productions has given me press passes to go backstage at the SoCal Hoedown, so I get to fucking interview my heroes, dude. I'm going to be back there interviewing Suicidal Tendencies, the Dickies, the Living End's going to be there, Necromantics, dude. Yeah, I got a photographer, B. We got to get some.
I have a microphone you can take with you.
That's what I'm talking about, B. That's what I'm talking about. And the big news is, since I'm flipping the script on you motherfuckers today, we're going to be talking about hip hop. I know some people are tripped out that I'm going to do that, but this is my show. I do whatever the fuck I want. And anyway, so they not only did I get press passes, but I got to share the love. So we're going to give out some free tickets to the event. All you got to do is call in. Not today. Today I want to talk about hip hop, and I'm going to be learning about this shit. I got very, very limited hip hop knowledge, but my guest here, he's got a lot. And anyway, without further ado, because he's got many names, I'm just going to call him New York Dave for the show, because otherwise I'm going to fuck it all up. Dave, thanks, brother, for coming in and doing this for me, dude. Because you got some fucking crazy ass stories, dude, and I can't wait for people to hear this shit, man. So, welcome to the show.
What up? What up? By the way, B in New York, you're called a B-boy. Just to let you know, that's hip hop.
I can't windmill anymore. I'm too fat.
All right, B. Hey, hit refresh on this thing right now. So the YouTube, you're gonna have to help me with that shit in a minute, anyway. Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll look over here. Okay, so we got hello to everybody on Facebook. Oh, there we go. Cool. Yeah, we'll watch that one. There we go. So we've got Dave in studio and a few of his lovely, lovely friends who are not going to be on camera except for this dude. It's cool. What's going on? Chris, right? Yeah, Chris. Chris is kicking it right here. Yeah. So Dave, man, you've got some crazy shit. I don't even know where to start. Before I start, I want to do this thing because I love fucking accents, dude. Just say coffee for me.
Coffee.
Yeah. Isn't that the shit right there, B? I love that, dude. We had before I took a break, we had some bands in from France. I got a message. I got a band coming in from on tour from Japan. And we got my homie Dave now from fucking New York. We're spreading all out. Plus we've had the Dayglow Abortions from Canada. But Dave, man, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. You know what? It's weird. I was in Cucamonga when I was a little kid for 2 years, and that's where B's from, Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah.
I was there for 2 years, and then I went back to the Bronx.
You went back to are you originally from the Bronx? Born and raised?
Born and raised in the Bronx. Came out here to meet my pops.
Yeah?
Yeah. And went to Cucamonga Junior High. I was a Puerto Rican Lynn Swan. I played on the flag football team, and life was good, and then life got bad.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that, brother. But let's start off for the listening audience so they know, besides, I've introduced you, but in the Bronx, dude, tell me, you started off in hip-hop, dude. First off, why? Just out of curiosity.
I was fortunate. My brother was DJ Mr. Biggs, 6'10", 350-pound Puerto Rican, big afro, and he was a DJ. And he went to school with African Bambaataa in the Bronx. We lived in a weird neighborhood where the Bronx and hip-hop started. It was called Soundview. And the high school was called Monroe High School. And this guy that you're listening to right now, Bambaataa, he went to that school, and they lived in Bronx River. So for whatever reason, I was a stoner little kid from Cucamonga. I went to the Bronx, and my brother let me play with his turntables. So I would sneak in his room, and I used to watch him DJing, and I was looking at all this brand new thing called hip-hop. And I was a stoner. I was a Cucamonga stoner for 2 years in Cucamonga. So I kind of like crossed over and started doing rapping, and I decided to just start rapping, and it was so awesome. I was called MC Sin.
Nice.
I don't know why I went all out and extreme. I figured I wanted to be the hardest, so, forget about Dog or forget about, Pimp Daddy or whatever. I was MC Sin, so I wanted to just be the craziest of all rappers.
And what year was this?
That was 1979, 1980. 81. I want to say in 81, 82 is when I started really turning into MC Sin for real.
So check this out. So it's a crazy thing because this is mostly a punk rock show. I interview lots of different musicians. Sometimes not punk rock, but that's what I'm familiar with, right? And so I throughout the years that I've been doing the show, as I've been interviewing bands, we talk about the history of it, like the evolution, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
you can always trace punk rock just into the rock and roll roots. Iggy and the Stooges. A lot of the, especially the New York scene, was very influential. You got the Ramones, Television, Blondie, all that stuff. Besides hip hop, which is only this, I think, is only the second show that I've ever done. Who was around back then that actually started? Because this is hip hop is basically a fairly new, as opposed to in big scope of music, right? Hip hop is a lot newer than rock and roll. So who was around that you were checking out back then in the late 70s,
Yeah,
early 80s?
That's weird because a lot of people have a misconception that this group called the Sugar Hill Gang
Right,
was
yeah.
the rappers. That was the first record ever on the radio. Ironically, in 1979, 80, 81, there was no hip hop on the radio. Run DMC, nobody was on the radio. We had cassettes of these guys doing battles at the places like I just mentioned, Bronx River Projects, the T Connection, the Autobahn, and these groups were called Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah.
We had Fantastic Five. We had a group called Funky Four plus one more that actually had a female rapper in the group. And so there was these battles where they were doing full-blown musicals. They were mixing songs with dancing, and it was like full-blown like musical orchestra of these rappers doing this prior to the Sugar Hill Gang coming on the radio. So you'd have to get a cassette, and then you would have to listen, and we would just burn the cassette, duplicate it, and that's the only way we heard hip hop before radio. It came on the radio.
So you guys were making mixtapes and just passing them out, and that's how word got spread.
Exactly, and they were actually captured live performances from all these unique clubs in the Bronx.
So these battles that you used to go to, were they a lot like? 'Cause I'm trying to relate this to for some of the younger listeners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, like 8 Mile, right, with Eminem,
Yeah.
right? When they were they actually battling each other, like MCs, like going after each other.
Yeah. That's a more further perfected extreme version of what battling became in the early 70s and beginning 80s. It was more of a show. They would do a full set to battle and compete against another crew. So they wouldn't have to like have 6 guys here and then 6 guys there and they battle each other like you would see with a dance group.
Yeah.
They would just do a full-blown show and then rock. Every now and then you'll see some guys battle each other, Now, ironically, we had solo rappers like Busy Bee, Starsky, and some unique guys that just could just do it by themselves and hold the whole without a whole crew. But the early like Fantastic Five, the Treacherous Three, they were usually groups and they put on full-blown shows to compete against the other shows. It was phenomenal. Like nothing. If you could Google it and find out to some of those tapes, is nothing you've heard ever in your life. And it's similar to what you see on 8 Mile. It would be like that, but it's a whole full-blown crew. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
And then I'll go ahead and tell you what happened is some lady came up with an idea to make this song, and this was the Sugar Hill Gang, and none of those guys were rappers.
Really?
Yeah, the biggest rap song of all time, which is the Sugar Hill Gang, none of them were rappers. They took an open audition. One guy was a bouncer, one guy was a bartender or something like that. And the lady who was doing this record liked their voice, and they had one of our pioneers teach these guys how to rap.
Wow.
And he
dude
taught them
stole
how
all
to
the
rap.
Stuff from Grandmaster Caz.
Grandmaster Caz was the one. He knows the story.
Oh, I know. See, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's why I got B here.
Yeah.
B's the man.
And Grandmaster Caz wrote it and taught these actors how to rap, and it became the biggest rap record of all time.
So when was it that you first when you first started rap? So you were going to the shows and getting the tapes from all these guys, right? When was it? When was a moment that you kind of knew? I mean, I got my moment when I knew that I wanted to play, in a band. I've shared the story like years, for years, like when I was in high school. And that's weird how life comes full circle. My best friends when I was in high school were opening up for the Dickies, and I was sitting there watching them, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I want to do this shit." And that was from that point on that I was like, "All right, I'm gonna start a band." what was that moment? Was it just that first show, or was it a particular moment, one show that you saw what these cats were laying down, and you were like, dude, I want to do that.
Okay, I almost was forced to get out of it because my name was MC Sin, but in my neighborhood, which was called Castle Hill, there was a graffiti art group. And the graffiti art was as strong and probably one of the pioneering arms of hip hop. And so there was a group called United Artists. We had Scene, Cap, and there was a guy in this crew called Sin. So they found me one day at an asteroid machine. All right, now I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to be a rapper. And I used to get first place on the asteroid machine all the time. And it said Sin, 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 number one. So one day I'm playing my asteroid game and I got surrounded by this group of white guys who they took me outside after they see that I put my name again. And they said, you know, it was a big thing not to copy somebody's name. You know, they call that stealing. I forgot there's another word. So they took me outside.
Biting.
Yeah, you biting. Yeah. So like, yo, this is Sin. I'm Seen. There was this white boy named Cap. They were called the United Artists. And I heard of their names because in the Bronx, you see their names all over the subways. Beautiful murals. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm MC Sin. I'm
Like
MC
right there, we got-
Sin. There it is, baby.
If you guys are A and B, can you let everybody know that's listening to where they can go?
United
find...
Artists. Those are them.
There you go.
YouTube.
Go to YouTube and type in Chaotic Radio Black Lung Show, and then you can see B's actually throwing up graphics right now on the YouTube page, so that you can see some of the stuff that we're talking about. And yeah,
So they took me outside, and that's when I made up my mind. I knew for real, I'm MC Sin. Yo, what's up now, man? I'm MC Sin. And I remember walking away, like speaking that and knowing, yeah, you are MC. You're not a little kid. You're not practicing. You know, you just told these guys you MC Sin. And so, like, I stepped up, and I remember, like, writing, and I came up with, like, my first rhyme. And my brother was doing a party in Soundview, which is the birthplace of hip hop, at my cousin's house. And he let me rock the mic. And I was the MC, S-I-N. I'll take it to hell and back again. And when I get old and start to bend, I'll be the baddest motherfucker senior citizen. Yes, y'all. And you don't stop.
oh yeah, dude,
It's like
Oh,
that, y'all. But that's old school hip hop.
right? No, that's here. All right, here I'm gonna share something else with some of you guys that don't know. Back in the early '80s, you know, growing up in San Bernardino, I did used to break dance. I did. No, I'm not lying. I swear to God, I don't think even B knows this. Everyone sees all the tattoos and the punk rock and all that shit.
Shoot.
But yeah, they used to all the other guys in my neighborhood used to come out with a boom box and fucking the cardboard, and which we'll kind of get into later because I know you used to break dance too, and there's some famous movies that were recorded at your studio. But anyway, when did you record your first track?
My first track I didn't record till after I came out to California.
So you didn't put anything out in New York?
No.
You just did you perform a lot in New York?
Yeah, man. You see, so after my brother allowed me to start performing, I was a choreographer. I went to performing arts school. New York, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Fame. There was a couple of performing arts schools that allowed inner city kids to get into performing arts or creative arts. You know, so my big thing is I was into martial arts since I was 7 years old. I used to teach Taekwondo. So there was a new dance thing that was coming into the Bronx that wasn't called breaking. It was called Webo dancing.
So what now?
Webo.
Webo?
Yeah, W-E-B-O.
A Webo.
Yeah, so today you guys would call that freestyle dancing or house dancing. So we would be those guys with the parachute pants. I don't know if you remember back in the days before MC Hammer. Okay, we would wear like Civil War hats backwards, and we would come up and dance in the middle of all the break dancers with our dance style. It was like a freestyle modern dance, like mixed with martial arts, and we would call freestyle dancers, Webo dancers. So my big break outside of being a rapper,
We got some on screen right
that's
now
a Webo
for you.
dancer right there.
Told you B is
Yeah,
on
exactly.
point today.
That's Webo dancing right there.
That's it right there?
Yeah, exactly. But he's wearing tight clothes. We would wear a little bit looser clothes because we did a lot more acrobatics.
Yeah, I tried that shit in the '80s and it didn't work out very well for me.
Yeah. So my big break came as a choreographer working with a lot of the crews. So my big revelation was is these breakers don't know how to really put on a show. They just know how to battle. And remember, like we were talking about rapping, the competition of battling and competing.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that we should do a show like I remember the original rappers used to do on the cassettes, Grandmaster Flash, Cold Crush Brothers. So I took the breakers and I made them do a routine together where we're sliding, we're doing the robot, we're breaking, all choreographed to a song. And so that was my big claim to fame. They allowed me to work with some of the groups. We were working when the first movie ever came out. It was called Beat Street. That was
I remember
filmed
Beat
at the
Street.
Roxy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was there at the Roxy's when we filmed Beat Street with my group who was auditioning for a guy named Harry Belafonte. He was actually producing the movie. And while we were filming this, my friend Africa Islam, who's the son of Bambaataa, introduced me to this guy named Ice-T. You guys know who Ice-T is?
Just a
Yeah.
little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, he started off as a rapper. So and originally he was from New York. So Ice-T was at the Roxy's when we're filming the movie, and Islam, who's the son of Bambaataa, brought me over to Ice-T and this other man and said, "Hey, didn't you live in California? You need to meet these guys. They're from California." So I met them, and they gave me a flyer. And the flyer was for a club that they owned in MacArthur Park, and it was called The Radio. And ironically, that was my big break. I walked around with this flyer knowing that if I ever came back to California, I could put all of my gifts, my rapping, my dance, and possibly have a job in Hollywood. And that's kind of like what led me to the path of getting into my, I want to say inheritance. I believe that this was a gift.
So what year was that when you decided that you were gonna move out to California
82.
again? So 82 you
Yeah.
came back out here
Yeah.
to the West Coast.
Yeah, I did have a problem at that time too.
Did you?
Yeah, it was 1983 BC, right before crack. And we were all freebasing, I was freebasing, and I was a full-blown drug addict. I was like 16 years old, and that actually was causing me to get off track, man. The drugs was getting me off track, man. I had a wide open door, at the birth of this big thing, and I'm doing big shows. Dude, our show, my group, we performed with Run DMC at a place called the Fun House, one of the first times they ever performed in Manhattan. We broke dance for Run DMC, you know what I'm saying? But I'm here I am, MC Sin, and I'm freaking starting to freebase, and I'm a drug addict, and then I screwed up, and I fucked up and messed up with some Colombian people. Excuse my French, you guys.
No, you can say fucking. This is on the
All
internet,
right,
dude. We
well,
don't give a fuck here.
Well, the Colombians were trying to take over the early cocaine business in New York, and I messed up with one of the Colombians, and they were looking to kill me, man. And so the Colombians are coming to my house. I'm a drug addict, and I got this flyer, from this guy named AJ and Ice-T, and I was like, I need to get out, and come to LA, and that was my salvation.
Wow. All right, brother. Well, let's do this because I know right now that a lot of the listening audience, their heads are probably fucking exploding. Like, what the fuck is going on the Black Lung Show today? They're used to listening to all this rock and roll stuff. You've sent some of your music because I'm sure we're gonna be talking for a while. So, I want to break it up and play some music. I want the listening audience to know exactly who I'm talking to. What you sent some music to us. Do you want to pick a track that you want to play first? What would be your introduction to everyone that's listening to this show?
You know what? I did a song with Curtis Blow, and a lot of you might not know Curtis Blow had the first rap video on MTV. Curtis Blow, he had a song called They're Playing Basketball, and then he also had a song called These Are the Breaks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Curtis Blow was one of our founding fathers of hip hop. And so he's on my new album that just came out. It's on iTunes, by the way.
No, you can plug the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the show.
So I have a song called B-Boy MC, and I'm gonna have DJ B in the back play it. B-Boy MC. Go ahead, B. Hit it, DJ.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is your boy, Curtis Blow, one of the originators. This is going out to all my B-boys and B-girls worldwide. B-boys, B-girls, DJs, and fly MCs. Hands, everybody, if you got what it takes. Cause I'm Curtis Blow, and I want you to know that these are the boys. From the legend to the masses, more than a couple classics. Back to the basics, learn tactics. Rap's real, but you're looking like an actor. Let your soul show till your craft is a factor. B-boy spinning, white train graphers, hip-hop pictures, cry long on canvas. Could you imagine if hip-hop wasn't here? Well, it's in danger, the club's in crosshairs. Keep it real and you be alright. Keep it rocking like a cool hurt party, which is all night. Kangos, Pumas, in my 3 stripes. Hey Dave, would it be like from the Bronx to Greece? Let your love increase for the movement of the music. Don't wait till it's deceased. Rap scholar, wanna hip-hop's forefathers, and I wanna see my sons go farther. B-boys, B-girls, DJs, and fly MCs. B-boy MC. B-boys, B-girls, DJs, and fly MCs. B-boy MC.
Yes, sure, and you don't stop. I'm from that old school, the hip hop. Back from the days of Johnny the Fox at the Rock, say you could catch me. Up in the clouds, kicking with the VIPs. The dominating force was a treacherous 3. But on the bum rush was the cold crush. No soft, no sweet, no sugar hill stuff. Bang baby, bubble to the boogie the beat. Step aside, sucker MCs for Run DMCs. The kings with the ring. Then came the sting from the red LL Kango King. Heartfelt message, rocking the bells. Next page, KRS and BDP tell. The story well, breakers took the spin spell. The roof was on fire, the dogs yelled. Gangs took a seat to watch Beat Street. That's how it started back in NYC. And that's who I am, that's who I be. A B-boy and a dope MC.
B-boys, B-girls, DJs, and fly MCs. B-boys, B-girls, DJs, and fly MCs.
B-boy, B-boy,
That's off your new album right there. What's the album called?
B-boy MC.
B-boy MC. I just want to keep saying it so that way people, if they want to pick it up. What's cool when I was listening to that too is that it's still got that old flavor, right? From
Yeah.
you know, and there's been a lot of discussion, which I don't know how the fuck I even know about it, but well, I guess you know when you go online and you start going into that internet fucking rabbit hole and you start watching all these videos and there's all sorts of like old school rappers talking about new school rappers. What is it? Mumble rap is what they call it.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shit nowadays. That shit is awful, by the way. That's just my fucking personal opinion. I'm not the one that I'm not the B. How do you feel about mumble rap? See, we'll get some of it.
It sucks.
Thank you, B. Anyway, I'm an old school cat. I like old school punk rock. I like old school rock and roll, and actually I do listen. I do like hip hop. So I do actually have some hip hop questions for you because I told you my shit's limited. But growing up, right, I did listen to Run DMC a lot. I listened to Run DMC and I listened to Public Enemy, and of course I have to listen to the Beastie Boys, right? Beastie Boys were actually a punk rock band when they first started, right? And then they switched over to hip hop. But one of the things that I was noticing, and this is it's not really the rap per se that I'm not a big fan of, I'm not the style, the mumble rap stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's also the message, man. The message I think has changed a lot because back in the day, you know, Public Enemy was talking about social issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'd listen to that and you're fucking like hearing Fight the Power. You're like, fuck yeah, you're getting all amped up, right? It's the same shit with punk rock, right?
Yeah.
We're angry at the system. You know, it was a bunch of angry ass kids.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the current situation of hip hop as opposed to like when it first started? Do you see that same change? Like back then it was about social issues and now everyone's like about, you know, fucking money and cars and just dumb shit. I mean, that's again, that's my opinion. How do you feel about it, Dave?
Yeah, I think it's sad, but we also have to understand that we're desensitized now. Our kids are, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with what's bombarded on the lifestyle on our TVs, our politicians, our leaders, our pastors, and even with the news, with the towers going down, there's a massacre every weekend. You know, another mall shooting. So our kids that have learned hip hop and were raised today, they weren't exposed to what me and you were exposed when we were a kid. We weren't as desensitized back then. You know, as a matter of fact, if you remember watching Lucille Ball, they didn't even sleep in the same bed, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember being totally motivated when I heard Grandmaster Flash talking about the message. When Run DMC hit the radio, it blew us away. Like they were starting to play some rap, and then like Run DMC was the first, and this is for real, the first voice of the projects to me. You know, because we had a lot of the good rap, we had positive message rap, you know, we had the glam poppy rap, you know, we had stuff. But then like Run DMC came out with a song called Sucker MCs that just rocked the Bronx. Like we were listening to Sucker MCs, and it was like artistically, they was like, oh my God. You know, like no one's ever did that. And then LL Cool followed up with a song called Rock the Bells. So, you know, our early birth of hip hop was so inspiring because we weren't as desensitized, you know. Nowadays, obviously, when you hear, and a lot of it's very ignorant, they don't even care about a message because they don't even have hope. They don't want to fucking message. They don't want to give a message. There is no message in them for to give, you know. And you did touch a good point. So what their goal today is obviously is possibly about money, hoarding a large crew of probably bodyguards. They're not even going to be friends anymore. They're going to be bodyguards, you know, and that's their goal, you know. So that's what you're going to hear on their music, you know, and it's pretty pathetic, you know. There's no that much artistic expression anymore like we had it back in the days. But you see, when anything starts at the beginning, there's way more artistic expression because we're creating. There's no limits, there's no boundaries, you know, and it's wide open. Now, apparently, there's boundaries and everything's set. This is the way, and radio and big money wants to tell you this is the way you need to make a record now.
Yeah.
So they got these records. So the kids who do it now, this is the formula. This is how you got to do it. Let's do it. You don't got no new KRS Ones anymore. You know. As a matter of fact, KRS One was talking about vegetarian stuff, about not even pork back in the days, and we were listening to him like, we can understand why the hell would you not want to eat bacon? You know. You know, it didn't make sense what KRS was talking about. Now we know why. You know, because we're big, fat, obese, you know, high, diabetic world. You know, out of
He's
our
pointing to himself right now.
You know, we don't care about our bodies, so we're gonna eat whatever. But you know, back in the days, we cared. Today, it seems like we don't care anymore. So that's what basically would happen.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to tie in what I know, you know, to this conversation with my limited hip hop knowledge. You know, the thing I talk to a lot of punk rock bands, and again, this is a punk rock show, that's why I keep going back to that shit. But the original stuff that I was talking about when you were actually asking me about outside, so it's hard to say where it started from, but it started, you know, a lot of it started in Detroit Rock City with the MC5 and Iggy and the Stooges, and then you had the New York scene with CBGBs with Television and the Ramones, and you had Blondie, and just a lot of different bands. But the thing is that back then, since it was so new, all the bands didn't sound like each other, right? Yeah. And then as punk rock, you know, grew and it became more socially acceptable, if you can even say that, a lot of the bands kind of like took what certain bands are doing and like kind of like a cookie cutter and just kind of like replicated the same thing. So all the bands started sounding the same. Like that's how I think about hip hop nowadays. You know what I mean? Only every once in a while do you find someone that's got their own style and their own flavor that sounds original. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but okay, as an oxymoron, you know, and not to be too politically correct, we have been interviewing MC Sin for the last 5-10 minutes. I don't know how long the show's been on.
Almost 30 now.
All right.
It goes quick.
Yeah,
It goes quick.
Yeah. So I really didn't have intentions on being positive or talking good at all when I was MC Sin, y'all. Okay, I was on that track, but I was polluted. I myself was influenced and polluted by dope. You know, it was the lifestyle of an addict. You know, however, our club. Now I want to get to the breach here. Our club, when I came to Los Angeles and I finally got out of L.A. I'm sorry, I finally got out of New York. I had a detox on a bus on a Greyhound to MacArthur Park, and the movie had just came out. It was called Breaking, the first hip hop movie right after Beat Street. It was filmed in MacArthur Park at this club that Ice-T was running. It was called the Radiotron. So I finally get to LA. The Colombians were looking for me. I'm detoxed, 5 days on the bus. I get to MacArthur Park. I have this flyer.
There we
it
go,
is.
right there.
That's the Radiotron in the background. That's my
And
club.
there's Turbo and
That's
Ozone. See, I know
Turbo
what's
and
up, dude,
Ozone.
on some breaking.
That's the Radiotron. That was. So I went right there looking for the guy who was running that place, and dude, it was closed down. The club was closed. The radio club was closed. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm sitting there, and then the door opens, and this man gives me a job and allows me to work. I became the manager. I slept in my office, and I didn't meet Ice-T. Ice-T was gone. The radio club was closed down, and it was transformed into this new thing. It was called the Radiotron. And so I'm not going to get into the details, but basically they stole the name. Something happened where they didn't pay Ice-T to use the name The Radio, and the film company added Tron to the name of that, to the end of radio, and stole the club and made the movie without paying Ice-T. So I know, man. I didn't know that. You know, I show up, and so they hire me to reopen it as the Radiotron. So I'm sleeping in my office, and now I'm just doing everything. You know, we had a classroom upstairs. I'm teaching Taekwondo. We're teaching rapping. We're teaching DJing during the day, and on the weekends, we're the Radiotron in MacArthur Park. Everybody was there. Ice-T, you know, started coming around. Dr. Dre used to come all the time. I never forget it. He used to give me his business card. He was a DJ with a crew called the World Class Wrecking Crew. And then Cuba Gooding used to go there. Like, everyone was coming to this club, you know, and I'm sleeping in my office. And now I want to talk about the demise of MC Sin, because our club got closed in 1985.
So they filmed both films there too, right? It
Yeah.
was Breaking and then Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. They actually stole the story for Electric Boogaloo, and it was about us. Because for real, we were a youth center. We're called the Youth Break Center. And all the film executives came to the club and interviewed us. And the movie came out about a youth center getting closed down, and they need to raise money. And that's exactly what happened to us.
What? Hollywood stole something? I
Yeah.
can't fucking
So
believe that. That's fucking outrageous.
They jacked them.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah. And that was my bottom. When that happened to me, because I was trying to get a little clean, you know, I wasn't like in a program or recovery.
Right.
You know, I was like trying to do good, man. I'm doing good, and all the celebrities are coming, and, you know, and we're doing good. They're making movies, and I'm doing good. And then when that happened and the movie came out and we got closed down, you know, there was an intervention from me. You know, I came out here to the Inland Empire. I got hired to open up the grand opening of a club called the Club Metro. You ever heard of that place?
Yeah, man. Yes. I used to go to. Oh, holy
Club
shit.
Metro?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I've been looking for you. You owe me $20, don't you? Yeah. And so the grand opening of the Club Metro, they hired me, and I did it, and I brought those guys to come down from LA, and we did a big break show for the club. I got sidetracked. You know, I met this girl, and she took me to church, you know, in Riverside. That big, I'm not going to mention her name, but you know that big hippie church
Yeah.
on Arlington? Yeah. So, like, this church, she brings me to church, and I don't know what happened, man. I went to church, and I heard this weird message, and I'm hearing voices, you know, and then I became the first Christian rapper in America. So I went from MC Sin to wanting to rap for God in church.
All right. So we're talking about the message, right? So your message
Yes.
was about was down and dirty.
I was dirty.
Dirty.
I felt dirty. Even in church, I felt dirty. I'm like, I'm sin, you know?
I felt like that too. And it's weird. And
Yeah.
again, this is gonna sound fucking weird. I went to church just this morning with my mama. I love my
Nice.
mom, but I hadn't been to church in, well, I've recently been going to church right now
Yeah,
because I'm trying to do the whole higher power thing.
Nice.
And yeah, I remember the first time I went. I used to be in the army, and I actually joined because I was strung out on dope, like bad.
Yeah.
And that was like in the 90s. And I remember walking into a church and just feel like as soon as I'm walking through the door, like all the hairs are standing up, and I'm like, "Fuck, I don't belong in this motherfucker at all." So how was the response from your colleagues when they heard MC Sin is now going to be a Christian rapper? Was that a trip for everybody?
I went into hiding, man.
You went into hiding?
I was in hiding. I wasn't in L.A. no more. I turned my back on everybody from L.A. I thought they all had a conspiracy. It wasn't just Hollywood. I left L.A. and I'm here in Riverside at this big hippie church off of Arlington, and listening. And this is. I heard a voice. I don't want to sound like I'm crazy, but I heard a voice, and it said, "You should rap for me."
Really?
So I'm like, how the hell can I rap? And my name is MC Sin. So I went home and I decided, okay, we made a new group. So the group that I came up with was called JC, which is my higher power, Jesus Christ,
All right.
and the Boys with a Z. And I didn't have no crew. I didn't have no boys. It was just me by myself. So I'm like, all right, cool. We're gonna be JC and the Boys. I'm assuming I was thinking ahead because I was always into crews. That's original. That's the difference between original hip hop and new hip hop. Old school, we looked out for each other.
Yeah.
That's why we promoted and we came up so big. I got your back, B. That was a big saying. So I'm like, we're JC and the Boys. I know the Boys gonna show up. And the first song that I wrote was called Crack.
Was it called Crack?
Yeah.
All right,
I'm a crackhead. Why not help drug addicts?
So you didn't hear a voice from Jesus saying, "Hey man, don't be using my name and biting that shit." It was like that. No, he was cool with that.
Yeah.
He was cool. All right.
Yeah, but that was Chancey because I was calling him JC.
Yeah.
Nobody else. They're all religious, and I said, screw it.
Did you catch any shit for that from anybody?
Not at that church. They were all stoners over there. Man.
All right.
You don't know about that church in Riverside? It's called Harvest.
Nah, that's what I'm saying, man. I'm not really good at this whole church thing yet. You know what I mean? Like
This guy named Greg Laurie was an old stoner himself. The whole church was all recovered stoners.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So B, can you help me out, dude? Let's fucking play Crack right now. Well, God, let's please play Crack right now on the Black Lung Show by JC and the Boys. You're listening to Black Lung Show on chaoticradio.com.
Which means some 5,000 people try it or use it daily. Yo man, crack
Surgeon General sends it back with the heart. And God says from crack keep the part. Your body says you want it like a light in the dark. While your brain keeps screaming, what did you start? You see, you gotta think about the future when you get old. I know you heard this once before, yes, you've been told. So what you gonna do? You're gonna act real bold. Or are you gonna get back on the right road? Tell me what you gonna do. What you gonna do? You're gonna act real cool. Okay, camouflage fool. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Don't treat your mind and your body so darn cruel. Deep down inside, you're really addicted. You're playing with an area that is restricted. So open up your eyes, homeboy, admit it. You're hooked on a new disease they call crack. You should see how it makes you act. It doesn't take a picture, a doctor, or a quack to let you know that lifestyle is really whack.
All right, that's some old school shit for
Oh,
you guys,
that's
right?
too old.
That's too old. That was JC and the Boys, Crack, and yeah, that reminds me. What was it? White Lines. Who?
That was Grandmaster Flash.
That was Grandmaster
Yeah.
Flash. Right.
White
Yeah.
guys, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, now here's some more crazy shit. For you guys listening to my guests, MC Scroller, New York Dave, MC Sin, Fuck. How many other names you got? I'm just making sure I got them all my bases covered right now. So that song "Crack," right, was featured on Jimmy Fallon of all fucking places, right? How the fuck did that happen? And that's something that even the young kids nowadays can recognize, because we started playing some of this old shit, and I'll talk about young kids in a minute. But there it is. It's playing live on YouTube. Let's hear this shit, and you can hear this too on the radio, right? B. All right, let's turn this up. I want to hear this. I haven't seen this myself.
Was the NSYNC show
Your cousin.
with Pink. I had to go support my cousin. Why would I not do that?
Why would you do that? You're
Why would I not?
You're a
I just
family
swear to
man.
God.
Yeah, exactly. You're a good guy.
But it was an
Oh,
epic
Pink was
show.
opening?
Yeah, Pink opened for it. This is 17 years ago today, your producer told me.
And he, long in the tooth. What kind of music were you listening to, growing up?
Well, I grew up, my family's amazing, but we were a pretty conservative home. So secular music was sort of, sometimes not allowed, but I loved rap. But my dad,
Like who are you into rap?
Well, my dad was very kind one time. He took me to the Christian music store and told me I could get any rap CD I wanted.
Now, see,
nice.
slow
Isn't
down
that a
for a
nice
second.
compromise?
It's a nice thing, but then you slipped in. He took you to the Christian music store?
That's right.
Okay, great. And you got a Christian rapper?
I did. Well, it was a compilation, actually. It was called Ultimate Rap Volume 2.
So it's a compilation.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some tracks?
Yeah, I mean, let's
They
see.
taught me some valuable life lessons.
Let me, which ones did you?
The first one was really about the books of the Bible, and it went, the Bible is the holy book, so let's open it up and take a look. We got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Ruth, and Deuteronomy.
Whoa, hey, come on.
And,
They don't know that one.
There's another
Maybe
one.
give us another one. We might
You know that
figure
one?
out the no. I don't
You guys-
remember that
I know
one.
you know that
That
one.
one's not the first one I think
This
of. No.
one I held with me to this day. It's a very valuable lesson about the dangers of crack. It was called Crack. And the verse went like this. C-R-A-C-K surely does not pay.
He says the name right there.
Who
too.
sang that one, do you know?
JC and the Boys with a Z, I want to say. Because why wouldn't it be with a Z?
JC.
Yeah,
Hello,
exactly, yeah.
obviously. And the boys.
And the Boys.
And the boys. Okay, the apostles.
Yeah.
That's that.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That you were. And who is this guy anyway? I'm sure he's an actor or something.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right?
Matt Boomer's a big actor. Yeah.
What's he been in?
I don't know.
All right, fair enough.
It would have been nicer if it was like, what?
Like Brad Pitt or something,
Exactly,
right?
Brad Pitt, yeah.
Brad Pitt went to the Christian store
I
and was
know.
like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all about crack." Well,
Yeah. Crack.
the song "Crack." Oh man, that's funny. Where were you when that happened? Do you remember? Were you watching it, or just someone just calling you and was like, "Holy shit, Dave! They're fucking talking about your song on Jimmy Fallon."
Ironically, I was traveling around.
Oh, hold on. He's always on point. What's this guy been in? He's been in Magic Mike, and I can't see what else. A couple of Magic Mike movies. I wouldn't know anything about this shit. In Time, I don't know. The Normal Heart.
Will and Grace TV show.
All right, he's been in a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
All right,
Matt Boomer.
Matt Boomer. That's the guy's name. All right. So,
But you got to understand, this happened recently.
like how recently?
I don't know, last year,
Oh,
maybe a
okay.
year. Okay, I used to rap 30 years ago. Okay, and I relapsed on crack after being successful. So this video, when that happened, it was kind of like a reminder that, like, okay, yeah, you relapsed, you screwed up, but you know what? You still did good in the past, because this guy said he didn't want to do crack because he heard the song. But,
Yeah.
I failed, man. After this, after I was doing Christian rap, I hit big. Like, #1 song on Christian radio. I did a song with Striper. Remember those guys?
I do.
Yeah,
I
they're
do.
from Rancho Cucamonga too, B. Striper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oz Foxes.
Striper had an album out called "To Hell with the Devil."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny as shit. But
Yeah.
again, so look, just just to be fair, right? I was like one of those hardcore, like like mean ass atheists. Like fuck you and believing in all this shit. It's funny how the mighty have fallen, right? And see, right now I'm going to church and trying to get my shit straight. But I'm just putting that out there, you know, and especially because I know you talk about a rock and roll band. Now I know, you know, a lot of some of the guys are gonna listen to me like fucking Striper, but you recorded with Striper. How the fuck did that happen? How did you record it? I'm sure they're nice guys. You know what I mean? I was never a fan of the music.
Oz is brilliant. You know, they're nice. I mean, obviously their singer's phenomenal, sweet, but they have a unique guitar player. His name is Oz Fox. You know, he's one of the unique. He taught guitar. He went outside of just being a Christian. You know, he was a genius with the guitar. So I always wanted to work with him. Striper was okay, and I needed a guitar solo on a song that I was doing on my last album. You know, so he was willing to do it. He did the guitar solo, and that song went #1. I got nominated. I performed for the president. Like, that song was the big song that
All right, hold on.
helped my career.
You performed for the president.
Yeah, Bush.
For President Bush.
Yeah, man.
Which one? The first or the second one?
Old Bush.
The old
Yeah,
Bush.
yeah.
Oh, the New World Order Bush.
And what was weird about it, it was at the GOP Republican convention, and I was with Mary Lou Retton, the gymnast.
No,
Yeah.
God damn,
Yeah.
dude, this is an 80s flashback
I
show
know.
like a motherfucker.
It was. So it was at the Republican convention. Mary Lou Retton did her little testimony, and she was flipping. And then they let me and my homie rap, and we rapped at the convention. And so, but,
And hold on, you got to slow down on this shit, dude. This is because okay. So look, this show, I've had some people do some amazing shit that I'm sitting there talking to them. I've had some bands that are like just casually drop. Oh yeah, we've got something in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite, how do I say it nicely, degenerate punk rock bands from back in the day, the Dayglow Abortions from Canada, actually were so offensive that they actually changed the Canadian Constitution because they were trying to ban them in Canada. You're the first motherfucker that I've ever had perform for a president of the United States. How did they even approach you with that? Like how did tell me the story of like you get a call and you're like, are you fucking with me? President Bush wants us to. Was it President Bush that wanted you, or was
no.
some PR guy or something?
no, it was for Bush. So I was producing some guy who was signed to RCA Records. you
Okay.
know?
Who was that?
His name was Steve Gooden.
All right.
And so he sounded like Michael Jackson, and he really wasn't a rapper, okay? So he, ironically, in the middle of his record career, decided to protest this movie that came out, and it was called The Last Temptation of Christ. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I heard about it. I never saw
Big
it.
protest. So
They were
all over news, this guy got real famous for protesting. He gave up his music career as really big recording artist, Steve Gooden.
Real quick though, why was he protesting? What was the problem with the movie? I know it was brutal, right?
I think there was some scenes trying to say that Jesus was gay or something like that.
What?
You know, I don't know. I never saw the movie. but
Okay,
that's
yeah.
what I heard. You know,
We're gonna have to research that. Being like, why did people hate the Jesus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. People do everything. Like right now, people tell me don't eat at In-N-Out because they support Trump. You know, I love In-N-Out, bro. What are you talking about, bro? I know people come up with whatever.
Oh, Jesus.
So he protests.
Sorry.
It's all over the news. It's on TV all the time. So my boy comes up to me and he says, "Yo, I need to do a rap song about America." Right? So I'm producing Steve Gooden's rap song about America. And then he calls me in the middle of his protest, says, "You know what? I have an opportunity."
Oh, okay.
There it is.
Then the Los Angeles Times says
All over.
the church declares Last Temptation morally offensive. U.S. Catholic Church threw its weight against the contract. The Catholic Church shouldn't say shit about nothing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got a problem with raping little boys.
Yep,
Anyway.
I concur.
Anyway, sorry about that. I know. Well, fuck. If you listen to this show, you know it gets offensive anyway. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm apologizing for.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So my boy gets an opportunity, and he calls me back because he's all over TV, and he says, "Yo, I'm going to perform. I got an opportunity to go perform with Mary Lou Retton, and
That makes
the
sense.
song that you produced for me called America." I'm like, "Dope, let's do it, man." And he's like, "Yeah, you could do one of your songs too. You need to be my MC because I'm not a rapper." I'm like, "I know you're not a rapper. You're whack, bro." You know? He's like, he's a cornball, dorky, pop dude, right?
Yeah.
Whack, 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 whack. So all of a sudden, it came out on Jay Leno, bro. David Letterman. So David Letterman dogs him. It's like, rappers gonna get ready to rap for the president of the United States, and they show a picture of my boy wearing an American flag as a bandana on the David Letterman show. So now it's real famous. All the news media is blasting my boy. So finally it happens. You know, they fly us out. We go backstage. They wouldn't. I was telling you earlier, they wouldn't let us hang out with the politicians in the green room. I don't know if they thought we were gangsters. You know, if you looked at my boy, he was the furthest thing from a gangster. We weren't allowed to hang out in the press room with the press people. So we had to hang out backstage with the Secret Service. I remember being with the Secret Service. And,
Did they fuck with you at all? Were they frisking you and making?
They
sure
liked us, you know. They said it's the first time they ever allowed anything like this close to the president. You know, it's for Bush. You know, and Mary Lou was there. Mary Lou Retton was cool. You know, they liked her, and they let us play with the bulletproof vests and the whole shot. You know, we're hanging out backstage. You know, and I remember the audience being, I don't know, 40, 30,000. It was really big. Mary Lou Retton goes up, does a little thing.
So you're playing the Republican convention for probably a bunch of old ass white people.
Correct.
Who I'm just seeing that's the perfect audience for hip hop, right?
Yeah.
What
It
was
never
go-
happened before.
What would? Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
Has it ever happened? Well, probably Obama probably had somebody cool.
I don't know.
I don't know. B, you're on. We got to find out if this has happened ever since. Okay, but anyway, yeah, B is gonna be fucking busy today.
Yeah.
So, what is going through your mind, man, as you're backstage before you're going on to perform? Did you look out in the audience and go, "This is fucking crazy"?
No.
No?
You see, I inherited hip hop as a kid. I
Okay.
already seen what it did. You know, it got me to Roxy's with Run DMC. It got me at the Radiotron. As a matter of fact, we would break dance with cardboard boxes, and people would love us. You know, hip hop gave me courage. You know, the skies were the limit. I wasn't scared. You know, and I'm sure a lot of the punk rock and a lot of the heavy metal bands could relate to this. You know, I had a gift, and it worked for me. So this was just another thing that kept happening out of numerous things that hip hop did for me. Now my boy, he was getting a free ride. He wasn't a rapper. He was whackety whack. You know what I'm saying? He was getting a free ride and all the publicity. You know what I'm saying? And I knew the concept that they were all saying hip hop at the Republican convention. It didn't make sense.
Still
to me,
doesn't.
Yeah, to me, first of all, Christian rap didn't make sense. That was like, it didn't make sense. They really didn't think that would happen. Let alone hip hop, Christian hip hop, or whatever. So it wasn't too difficult for me to absorb.
Well, walk me through that shit. I'm curious. Is there videos of that shit anywhere? Is that on YouTube? Maybe.
Yeah.
B.
I'm looking.
All right.
Republican convention.
All right. So then, all right. Was the president watching you when you did this? I mean, yeah.
You know who else was there?
Tell me.
This is important.
Is this important? All right.
What year was this?
82.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Robert Downey was there. Robert Downey was filming a documentary at that time.
Is Robert Downey Jr. or his dad?
Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay.
And I remember meeting him and talking to him, and he was amazed. He was like, "Oh man, hip hop," And I remember years later talking with him, later on, discussing what took place right when Robert got sober.
What did the fucking president do? Was he trying to fucking b-boy
I
this
have
shit
no
up or
idea,
anything like
man.
that? Like,
I have
fuck,
no idea.
Fuck yeah. Was he doing any shit like that?
I have no idea.
No?
Mary Lou, I don't know what anybody was doing, bro. But when it's time to show, you perform, bro.
No, yeah, no, I got
didn't
you. Yeah,
care.
you get tunnel vision.
And I had to do the whole show. My boy did nothing, He would sing a little bit, and then that's it. We did 3 songs, and they were all my songs, and we did his little America song. That was it.
Wow.
And he did his little claim to fame. He had his moment, and he went on protesting for like 2-3 more years. Good man,
That is, I don't think I could think of anything more 80s than that. And see, in my head, it's just all 80s. When you're on stage right there, you're rapping Christian rap. There's the fucking president. Here's Mary Lou Retton doing backflips. I'm surprised you didn't have fucking like Mr. T come in there and be like, Peter the Poor Fool doing like MC Sin. Or no, what was it? JC and the Boys. That would have been the shit if you had Mr. T right there.
Yo, we did a show at the Queen Mary. It was on the 700 Club with Pat Robinson. I don't remember that, right?
Pat,
Yeah,
is
Pat
it,
yeah.
the preacher?
The old guy, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was called the 700 Club. They had Lola Falana, big singer Lola Falana, giving her testimony. They had a skate ramp this is in front of the Queen Mary. They had a skate ramp with skaters going up and doing all their flips, and then they opened up the mic. This was MC Sin, and now he's a Christian rapper. Bam! They gave me the mic, and I rapped like on the 700 Club in front of the Queen Mary, you know. And it was, you know, it was weird. You know, it might have been a circus act to some of them. You know. I know I was embraced by hip hop, and I was trying to do a message. See, we went down this lane because I was talking about the message.
Yeah.
I found, you know, I wanted to help with a message. It started with crack, you know, and I did my little stuff. There we go.
Oh.
And then, you know what? It didn't last. Hollywood got me.
Hollywood got you?
The lifestyle.
All right.
It got me.
So before we go into that, let's play another song from your new album, because I want to promote that. And for anybody that's listening to the show that actually does like old school hip hop, you guys got to support my boy, dude. This is fucking cool. This is a fun interview. I want to say what's up to everybody that's watching on Facebook. I know some people dropped out because they're probably going, "What the fuck is going on today?" I know, but hey, you got to keep your mind open to fucking everything, right?
I did a song with the Gypsy Kings. We'll do that song.
Yeah, let's hear that.
My
mom,
daughter.
I was talking about that today with my mama. She's like, I love the Gypsy
Nope,
Kings.
we're gonna do My Princesa. Yeah, my daughter was dying of leukemia at the City of Hope when I wrote this song. This is called My Princesa.
Scroll down one, B. There we go.
That's
All right,
it, My
you're listening to the
Princesa.
Black Lung Show. This is off the album B-Boy MC.
Será por siempre, mi princesa mía, mi princesa mía. Princess, angel, daddy, love you, sunshine, so fine, God that sent you. Princess, angel, daddy, love you, sunshine, so fine.
The doctor said that you might go up to that place where the dead go. So I hit my knees and I prayed so hard that my soul damn near broke. My folks have my back with love strokes. Thank God for my peeps, so I below. Now here you are by my side like a crow spoke, cruising in through the city of hope.
Princess, angel, daddy, love you, sunshine, so fine, God that sent you. Princess, angel, daddy, love you, sunshine, so fine, God that sent you.
Hold my hand as hard as you can. Come on, let's go.
You're all I ever need.
To that place of heavenly fun, let's ride rainbows.
Your smile sets me free.
I won't stop counting the blessings you're with me. Even though sometimes I can't see how much you care, how much you need me. Grace and mercy, baby.
Princess, angel, daddy, love you, sunshine, so fine, God that sent you. Princess, angel, daddy, love you, sunshine, so fine, God that sent you. Princesa mía, princesa mía, princesa mía, princesa mía.
Tito Puente. ¡Huepa! Now if you got a girl, let her know she's the reason you're breathing the light of your world. She makes you twirl, that's for real. Come on, Dax, mic check, spit pearls.
You are my love, mi amor, all my love. You are my sunshine. Thank God you're mine. I said, you are my love, mi amor, all my love is in your eyes. You're alive and that gives me life. Tú eres mi princesa. Oh, my little princess. You've been through so much and you made it. You give me home, my baby. Princesa. Mi princesa. You are my sunshine.
Princesa mía, mi princesa mía, princesa del amor, me llenas el corazón, princesa del amor, me llenas el corazón.
That was My Princesa. We back on? B? There we go. That was My Princesa from the B-Boy MC album from JC and the Boys with the Z. With the Z. We got to clarify that shit. It's amazing, man, how many people that you've worked with, right? That was the Gypsy Kings. And it's also cool that you mix the different styles together. I dig that. I know everyone that's listening right now are just like, what the fuck is going on this show? Hey, you never know what's going to happen on chaoticradio.com. That's the reason why it's called Chaotic Radio. And you've got a crazy story about this. I don't know how much you want to talk about it and share about it, because you wrote the song for your daughter. And
Yes.
I've heard the story, but I'll turn the mic over to you, because I remember when I heard this, when you told this story. And for everybody now, if we haven't scared you off with the hip hop shit, now we're definitely gonna probably scare you off with the recovery shit. I hope not. I hope not. Because like I said, this is not preaching. Like I said, I don't care what the fuck you do. You know, if you can drink and have a good time, more power to you. You know what I mean? If you can maintain, well, I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, good luck, motherfuckers. Good luck. That's the only shit I'm gonna say to you. I'm not your dad. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But some of us have had a hard time. And so recently, and this is the reason why, besides the crazy stories about you performing for the president, right? And recently, as my life kind of went through some changes that I'm still working through. I don't give a shit. I tell people I'm in recovery. I mean, I used to be the asshole that used to make fun of everybody. And one of the craziest things that happened here, for everyone that listens to Chaotic Radio, I think it was just last month, my good friend Dan Rupp passed away. And he actually hosted a show called Rock to Recovery. And he would bring people in and talk about recovery. And it was right after, well, yeah, it was nice, but the fucked up part was that it was right after the Black Lung Show. And for years, the Black Lung Show was always about celebrating shit that we probably shouldn't have celebrated. So he'd come in, and there'd be all these beer cans and alcohol bottles and all that stuff. And then he'd come in, and I'd be talking shit to him like, dude, when the fuck are you going to fucking quit being a pussy and just drink again with us? Well, he actually lost his life. And it's kind of weird, that life comes full circle. And so, because now, look, I'm in recovery now, right?
Wow.
All that shit I was talking. And same thing about God, right? Now I'm going to church, and so I thought about it, and I was like, to carry on the legacy, I wanted to start doing that. And what I found, too, was that I'm not alone in this, right? So I can't tell you how many times recently, like the last show that I played with my band, we were playing out at the Redwood Bar in Los Angeles when we were opening up for Channel 3, which is one of my favorite punk bands. One of the most underrated punk bands, too. I got to come to the records there. But I'm walking in, right, and I already had like a couple shows under my belt sober. I don't know about you, man, but I never played sober, ever. You know what I mean? It took me a little bit to get those nerves out. Like 25 plus years, still got nervous. And I'm walking in, and I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to do this shit sober again. And there's a lot of people there. And I'm talking to Mike, the singer from Channel 3, and he's like, I was listening to the radio show. I was like, all right, cool. He's been on it. And he was like, I got 4 years. I'm like, no shit. And so over the last few months, we had Sam from Fang, who's got, I think, 11. And then my friend Farrell from Decry, who's going to be coming in. He's got, I think, 17, something like that. So there's a lot of people that are like us that had problems and finally realized, like, shit, I'm not winning this battle. They're losing, right? So this is just basically the reason I'm doing this is not only to carry on the legacy for Dan Rupp, but to reach out a hand to anybody else that's listening that might need to hear this, because peer pressure is a motherfucker, right? And especially in the music in the music industry. I don't know about you, man, but my friends are assholes. And that was it. You go out and be like, hey, I'm not going to drink, and all of a sudden, you know, and this is, I'm not talking about recently. This has been a while, but you know, you start drinking, and I hate when people say the pot's a gateway drug. Fuck no, man. Alcohol is a gateway drug because that's when you make all your dumbass decisions, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, cocaine. That sounds like a great idea. Let's do that right now, right? Anyway, so it's just like a helping hand because like even before I was coming into the show, I was seeing some of my friends posting on Facebook about people that are going through depression, people that are having issues, and then they need help. So anyway, with that said, that's my segue into the into the reason why I'm doing this. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not trying to preach, but if someone needs a hand, I've seen people, um, thanks, Tim. I've seen some people talking about this on the Facebook Live. Some people are battling depression, some people are battling that, and just want them to know that there's people out there that will help out. And Dave's actually not, I won't use a word, but when I met Dave, just listening to him share some of these stories, it's just like, holy shit. So the story, and I'll let you tell your own story, and however much you want to talk about that, especially that last song that we played about your daughter. You want to tell us about that? Because that shit fucking touched me.
Yeah, my daughter came up with leukemia, and she relapsed 2 or 3 times from leukemia, and then they told us it was terminal. That's it. They gave us a Make-A-Wish, and it was really difficult. Having a Make-A-Wish and everyone's being happy because they're giving the kid a final gift before they die and terminate. All her friends had already terminated. There was one friend left that was alive, and they said they want to. So right when that happened, like my daughter had never heard me rap, after I was JC and the Boys, and when I got my wife, like I stopped rapping for well over 20-something years, almost 30 years. So I heard my higher power tell me to write a song for her, and I'm thinking it's going to be like the last song before she goes. That's what I'm thinking. So, I muscled up and went to the studio and did my Princesa for her. And lo and behold, we get a call from the Leukemia Foundation and City of Hope. And they were like, hey, we experimented in Europe with a dual stem transplant, combining two different bone marrows from two different umbilical cords, stem cells. We want to try an experiment in the United States with your daughter. Do it, man. And so they did it. It stuck. My daughter's alive, and lo and behold, like I was like, damn, I can still rap. The song was good. My daughter's alive. So lo and behold, that's how this new album came out. I decided to go ahead and finish on. But you see, that was a journey. You guys have to understand this, okay? The end of JC and the Boys came when my daughter was pregnant. My wife was pregnant with my daughter. That's ironic, bro. Okay? I was on a #1 tour. I had the tour van. You know the Hollywood story. I relapsed. I left the wife at the hotel. She was pregnant with my daughter. And we had a 1-year-old son, and I took the tour van. And I told her I'll be right back. And I was gone. After 10 years in church, abstinent, all that Christian stuff, and then I relapsed on a tour, and I left the pregnant wife at the hotel, bro. That was bad. And that was it. I was gone. I relapsed, and she left, and I was gone and out there doing it, And you guys hear the stories all the time, what happens to us as addicts, man. And she kept calling me, Dave, please come home. I'm having a baby. What are you doing? And I couldn't stop, you guys. Like, I couldn't stop. That's all. And so, ironically, 1994, I decided to come back here to California to see my wife give birth to my baby. And I got rescued, man. It was the 94 Northridge earthquake. I don't know if you guys remember that thing. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I got picked up for possession. They sent me to Wayside Supermax, LA County Jail. The earthquake shook, and plus I was a Christian, so I thought it was the doomsday. Like, that's it. Cracked out, you're going to hell. Directly past go, that's it. I thought it was the end of the world, bro. That earthquake was bad, bro. And like, I had an intervention where, they sent me to this jail in custody jail rehab ran by this program out of Pasadena. They call it the House on the Hill. I don't want to mention her name.
Yeah.
But so I'm real fortunate. So I couldn't see my daughter get born. I get a possession charge. I go to Wayside playing shoot 'em up gang bang. With all these crazy LA County criminals, and then I finally touched down at a rehab inside of a jail program. And I was fortunate. I surrendered, and I spent a little bit time in this little rehab, like 60 days, bro. And I got out, and my wife was in San Bernardino. That's how I came to Inland Empire, man. My ex-wife moved to San Bernardino as a single mom, and I got out of rehab, right? And now here I got 60 days. I'm getting ready to be Captain Save-A-Ho, where I'm going to come back. I'm going to be daddy, super daddy. And my wife, like, I'm out. And she divorced me, man, like immediately. My wife divorced me,
Yeah.
And there went my journey, Recovery's not easy, man. Just because we're happy and we're on a radio show and you're seeing us, it's not easy, And it doesn't matter if you have money or no money, it doesn't matter, Recovery is a full-time job, man, and it kills us, bro. It kills us. It kills us, And so I just became a single dad, bro. And that was my job. I'm going to raise this daughter. That's it. I got the boy. It wasn't hard to raise a kid. I'm from the Bronx. I told my son, the girl walks on the inside. Open the door for the girl. Put the hat. Like, it wasn't hard for me to be a dad. But I had to be a single dad for this baby, that girl right there. And that was my challenge, man. Recovery. Going to church, going to meetings, No more JC and the Boys. I don't want to rap no more. That's it. I failed. Dude, when I got busted in the last time, I had my CD in my pocket. And the cop put me in the holding tank. And I'm in the holding tank. My only thing was my CD. That was my only identity I had. And I never forget that. When I got out of this rehab, I just gave it all up. I don't care about nothing. I just want to be in recovery. So that was the big challenge, man. So that was, 1994, October. That's when I got clean. And so when my daughter came up with leukemia, it was a bigger challenge than some of you guys might understand, because I got clean to try to see my daughter get born. You know what I'm saying? And here I am, and my daughter's on the hospital bed, terminating, Now, I do want to say that, ironically, at that time, this recovery thing is a two-way street. So some of you guys, look, if you're listening to the radio show, you're not going to be alone, bro. If you get in this thing with us, man, we got your back. Like, we got this guy's back. We got people in the audience sitting here at the radio show, and then we get it's called the sponsor. And then we start sponsoring people, it's like, it's weird. I don't want to say it's cultic or magical, or I can't even explain it, man. But it's like, we got each other's back, man. Like, we love each other as a family in recovery, And so I was sponsoring at that time Rodney King. I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, anyways. He's dead now, so it doesn't matter. But, yeah, man, he was the first one at the hospital, Rodney King. Can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
He was the first one at the hospital, man. He was wearing a chemo mask, knocking at the glass. I got you, sponsor. He was basically sponsoring me, and I was his sponsor. And one other thing that I wanted to talk about is that, so I got into this recovery thing, right? And like, I'm not doing music no more. And all of a sudden, like, they're calling me and they're like saying, "Oh, why don't you come tell your little story?" I'm like, "What story? I'm a crackhead." I go to church. They're like, "Yeah, tell your recovery story, man. People need to hear it, man." So I went back to that same jail program that I got busted and started giving my testimony. And it's called sharing your message, right?
Yeah.
Dude, one of the second times when I went back to that recovery place, I'm sitting there talking, and sitting in the front row was the celebrity that was doing that movie when we were performing for the president. I'll never forget that. It was Robert Downey Jr. I'll never forget that, man. And so I'm sitting there, and I go in, and the news cameras all over the place, you know. I go in there to tell my little story, and sitting right there in the front row is Robert Downey, man, fresh. Like, wow, you know, and we knew each other from, you know, from that time that I was at the President. And I'll never forget, man, you know, he told his counselor later on when he left that rehab, and it wasn't until he finally got clean and sober that his career never really took off. And it wasn't me. It was just that he finally like surrendered. Robert Downey is now one of the top 10 paid actors of all time in the history. And it wasn't until he got sober, you know, because it was in his way, you know, alcohol and drugs, man.
Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, I remember, you know, fine, I'm not going to do music no more. You know, I just start sharing my story, man. And that's what I've been doing lately, bro.
And you've been doing a good job. I mean, shit, you're here on the Black Lung Show. Obviously, you struck a chord with somebody. Me. You know, without getting too personal in that, Hugh, you know, like I think even for me, because I my entire life I've always struggled with depression, you know, and music and, you know, substances kind of just masked that, and I forgot what it was like to be normal again. So now that I've been sober for over 5 months, it's starting to rear its ugly head, and it's weird because you think, you know, when shit's going bad in your life, and it's that temptation is just right there, like, you know, hey, this will fucking make it all go away just for one night, and then you're gonna hate yourself in the morning. But going to a meeting and listening to some other people and actually hearing somebody say something that reminds you of your life, you're like, fuck, man, I'm not alone, you know. And for the first time ever, like, you know, I think a week or two ago, I was really, really low, and I went to a meeting right away, and I heard a story that just reminded me of a lot of the shit that I'm going through in my life. You know, I didn't deal with a lot of it, and I want to say this too, and I'm new, so I'm still in the learning process of all this stuff too. The one thing that I made fun of people with, and the reason I think most people make fun of shit when they don't understand something, right? So I had no idea what the fuck recovery was. I just thought it was people getting sober.
Quitters.
Yeah, quitters. I'm like, yeah. I used to always tell people too, I quit quitting. Fuck it, man. I'm just going to have fun for the rest of my life. Until it wasn't fun anymore, right? It's fun for a while, and then all of a sudden you use it, and then all of a sudden it starts using you, you know? And I remember I had no fucking idea about any of this stuff, and I started reading some of the literature, and I started listening to it, and it's like, it's not about getting sober. That's just that's the first part of it. It's the reason why you did that. You know what I mean? It's changing the way that you think. This is just me taken away from what I'm getting it. So I'm changing the way that I think, and I'm listening to this, and it's been helping. But anyway, before we get too fucking deep and start losing more people, let's play some more music.
I got a song.
You got a song?
Hey, Holmes, go ahead and play We Fall Down, but We Get Back Up. Because that's what happened to me, man.
Hell yeah.
I relapsed my ass off. I lost it all and came back, right?
That's how we got to do it, brother. You're listening to the Black Lung Show on the world famous chaoticradio.com.
Fall down, baby.
Where we get back up.
Get back up.
We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. We
We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. For a saint is just a sinner who fell down.
As I look back, I reminisce all the tricks and the twists and the slips. Playing with our life, it's a trip. Backslide, relapse, then we dip. Far away from the light of the sun, to the deep, dark, shadowy nights we run. Why do we do what we do, what we done? then chase the next one. Saints and sinners hear me. Those who got up, hold the key. They showed us the path that set them free. They cared and they shared gratefully. I and we thank thee. Much love and respect for your testimony. Now my eyes can see how you got back up on your feet.
Get back up again, get back up again, get back up again. Get back up again, get back up again, get back up again.
Day one, such a tragedy. He fell all the way down gladly. Hit rock bottom badly. Then he died, end of story. Day two, guess what, Joe? He died for you. Paid the price that no man can do. Rose from the grave, scarred hands and feet. He got back up for you and me. Day three,
That was live. Keep
That was-
coming back.
That was like keep coming back. I've heard that somewhere before. So speaking of coming back, actually, let's talk about leaving. You're gonna get ready to leave to go talk and share the message. Aren't you leaving you leaving in November, right?
Yeah. I'm going to Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
That is fucking crazy, man. And you've been all over the world, right? Talking and sharing.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Yeah. Okay. Just came back from India and do Mumbai, India, and
Do they have a translator there when you're talking?
yeah, they give me a translator.
Okay.
And then I did the first convention in Havana, Cuba. You know, we smuggled in literature to Cuba because they don't let nothing from America come in. So me, my friend Chris, all of us, we all smuggled in like these books. You know, to
Was that the
help
first
them.
time you had to smuggle something in that wasn't narcotics?
Yeah, it was dope, man. And then the Cubans, they only make $60 a month, bro, salary. That's it. They're broke.
Damn.
Yeah, and so like, and the weird thing about it is they're proud of the alcohol for years, culturally, the Pirates of the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they don't really think they have a problem with alcohol, right? But drugs, forget about it. That's a whole other thing. They didn't want to admit it. You know, they wanted to stop the meetings. Like their oldest old guy from Havana is this old Cuban guy. He said he found one of these books, these sober books, from a cruise ship 20-something years ago. So he went and got this church, and he was like, yo, we want to start these meetings, you know, for the addicts. And the church says, go for it. So he opened up the first meeting in Havana with a little crack coffee. It's called Café con Leche. It's like you take a shot, bro, you get naked off this coffee, man. Yeah, man. So he sits in Havana, and he's got this brand new book that he met from some tour person, because the only way you could get into Havana, Cuba, is through these tours, these cruise ships, because of the embargo. You couldn't fly in. At least Americans couldn't. So he's sitting there he's got this little book, he's got the crack coffee, and then the military sent the hit squad out to get him. And they kept showing up when they weren't there, and they told the people, we want that book. You know, they didn't want to publicly admit that they had, you know, or they were not going to let no recovery in the island. And so this member went into hiding for 3 years, man, with the book. And he went for 3 years. And there was a regime change. Yeah, one of the brothers, I don't want to get into politics, but one of them died. And it kind of got a little bit looser politically.
Right.
So he went back to the church, and then bam, they started the program again. And now this guy, he had 20 years sober. And we just had the very first convention. And I was the speaker with a translator in Havana, Cuba. And I went to Japan, and Japan, you know, it was incredible. You know, I went to Japan, and, you know, I thought, you know, they only had a problem with, like, sake or whatever. And lo and behold, like, the Japanese are freaking meth heads, man. They
Really?
bad, bro. They smoked that meth out there. And it was
They smoked the meth and played Dance Dance Revolution, just fucking all crazy.
all crazy.
That's
man.
fucking a terrible joke. But
yeah.
um,
And,
thanks, be like a joke. Be like a joke.
yeah. And then the Philippines, I went to the Philippines and spoke there, and that was awesome. When I went to the Philippines, their president had just declared a war on drugs. And he sent the military with M16s, and they shot, I think it was 7,000 addicts, maybe 2 months before I showed up, and left it out there on the street. They
Not the
put-
drug dealers, the actual addicts.
addicts, dealers, whatever. They called them pushers. They went into the houses where they were, you know, what we call trap houses, right? Or crack houses. They didn't know what they were doing. So they sent the military with M16s. And they went after all drug addicts. And so they left them on the street with a yellow tape. And when they put a cardboard sign, and it said, you can't touch them, they're drug addicts. And he left their bodies out there. And then he went on national television and told the drug addicts to surrender and turn themselves in. And so it was really bad. And so I had the opportunity to go right after that happened to speak in the Philippines. And I've also went to Thailand. That was awesome. A challenging one was Kathmandu, Nepal, all the way past, you know, near the bottom of China. You know, that was interesting. And
What was going on over there? The only thing I know about that is the Golden Child. Remember that movie?
Yeah,
from the 80s?
yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Yeah.
That's how I know about
They
it.
did a convention. It was the first Pacific Asian Forum, and they put it to represent all the different Pacific Asian countries, and they chose Kathmandu because supposedly Kathmandu is one of the most spiritual places on the planet. So I went there and I spoke at that convention, and that was really cool. Switzerland was a challenge because they have 5 translators. So when I went to Switzerland, they send us up to the Swiss Alps. Now, in the IE, you guys know that we have beautiful mountains. We got Mount Baldy, we got Arrowhead, we got Tabletop, you know. The Swiss Alps, man, was breathtaking, you know. And the weird thing about that one, and we might be able to do one more song after this, is
Sure.
that when I was in Switzerland, my mom had died, you know. And so, you know, my real story is I told you guys I moved to California to meet my dad, but I was raised by, you know, a mother, and that was really like my love of my life, man. Her name was Cookie, you know, and she had died when I was in Switzerland. And I remembered like driving up to the Swiss Alps. Maybe the pain caused me to like overreact with these mountains. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I fell in love driving up the mountains. They gave us a Swiss lodge, bro, and the whole lodge was ours, a ski lodge. The whole Swiss ski lodge was ours, man. And so we had our convention, we had our own chefs, you know, and all the people, and I kind of thought I was Russian phobic, you know, or I don't know about if I was racist, but I didn't think I had a kind place in my heart for Russian people. You know,
How come? Is that because of Rocky IV? You're like,
I
fuck
don't
that
know
shit.
what it was.
No?
Maybe in New York. I don't know. I'm homophobic or Russian phobic. I don't know, man. You know, but I remember like I'm up here and like there was Italians, you know, Irish, you know, Russians, you know, and I felt like, you were talking about emotions and pain earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, my mom's dead, and here I'm looking at these Russians. I'm like, I thought I was gonna get kidnapped and sold to ISIS and shit. You know, I'm serious. You know,
No, I'm
like,
sorry.
it was.
I don't mean to
weird,
laugh,
bro.
dude. I mean,
It
it's
was
just-
weird, you know. And I'm like, I'm just, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. And I'll never forget. Like, you know, I'm saying this because this recovery thing, for you guys who are listening and you're thinking about joining this recovery thing, it's real, bro. This Russian dude, his name is Dmitry, came up to me and just broke me, man. He picked me up and my legs were dangling. And he, you know, with his little Russian accent, he gave me a hug, man. He's like, keep coming back to New York. I heard about your mama, you know, and he wouldn't let me go, man. And I
Wow.
started crying, man. And I'm here to tell you, like, there's a Russian and an American that love each other, for sure. I know that, because I just saw it, man. And that was in the Swiss Alps when Dmitry gave me a hug. And, you know, I buried my mama, man. I got through it. I didn't get loaded. You know, in 1 month, I'll have 25 years clean and sober myself.
God damn. Hell yeah.
1
dude.
month. Yeah. And so where else, man? Oh, man. Greece. That was the big one. Athens, Greece. Let me tell you about these Spartacans, bro. You think we all like sexy and hardcore, right? They ain't got nothing on the Greek, bro. Those Spartans, bro. And I'm in Greece, and I'm visiting all the palaces, because that's what I do when I travel around the world. I make sure I visit the palaces and the museums, and I hang out with the locals, bro. You know, I'm not just like some circuit speaker. Like, I hang out with my people. I find out where we are. We go to meetings, and I look at the museums and stuff. But anyways, Greece had just had their economy collapse. Like, it was bad, like bad. All the banks was like
This is recent too, right?
Recent,
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wasn't like 40% or
Yeah,
50%
it was
unemployment, like just
bad.
ridiculous.
And it was worse when you were there and you see it, because I was there when it happened, man. You know, and they flew us to a Greek island. It's called Corfu to do the convention, and then after the convention, I went back and I stood for like a week in Athens, in the middle of their big collapse, man. And I'll never forget. Like, everybody would just go to these meetings for recovery, and some of them spoke English. And you know what they said, man? They said, "Listen, man, we don't know what's gonna happen, but we promise we're gonna stay sober, because if we don't, we got no chance, man." And I'll never forget seeing them. Like, they all promised. I don't know if they stood sober, but you know, they promised that they'd be clean, man. And so, you know, Greece, seeing, and this is why I'm telling you, is seeing these strong, like, okay, some people could talk and try to fool you. I'm looking at the camera and pretend that they're all hardcore. Is that the camera, or is it over here? Right there, right?
This one's right here.
Okay.
It'll catch you.
All right. Well, some people will talk, you know, and try to fluff it up, but some people, they're real. And these Greeks, they were real. Okay. And I seen like the realness of them, as I don't know if the culture, I don't know how different it was from any other culture, but these Greeks were real, man. And to see them go through so much pain, and the only hope they got is when they came to the meetings and hung out with us. It was so awesome, man. So, you know, I don't know. I figure that if I don't ever go on another trip, bro, anywhere else, I think I'm overpaid. You know,
Well, you're going to Rio.
I'm going to Rio. I'm going to be going to more places, Australia. You know, they're doing a movie about me, man.
I heard.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
about that.
In the process of doing a movie, it's going to be called Master of Ceremony. It's going to be this similar story about the birth of hip hop, you know, and hopefully that album comes out. But, you know, I just want to say this, like, I'm overpaid, you know. I'm serious. You know, and you started to show off, like, a lot of people who have the disease of addiction, you know, they're not fortunate like us, bro. They try to juggle this thing their whole life. You know, they try to manage it, you know, and they don't make it, bro. They don't get what we have. And I'm not talking about they have all the money and all the stuff. Like, I'm talking about they don't get this freedom, man. Have you seen that movie Rocket Man?
No, you keep telling me to watch that, dude, but I don't like.
All your
I-
audience, all of you guys, watch Rocket Man. Go watch Elton John.
He tells me that shit every goddamn week. Have you seen Rocket Man yet, Ryan? I fucking hate Elton
Great
John.
story about it. Forget about his songs. Forget about if he's gay or all that. Just listen to the story of what recovery can do, man. It's a perfect example of what happened with him.
All right, I'm gonna watch it and I'll give you a full report on the Black Lung Show. Anyway, we're gonna play some more music real quick. One, I wanted to get a reaction too because this is a punk rock show, so I'm gonna play a punk rock song for you, and sort of. This is by one of my favorite bands called Rancid, and there's a little bit of rapping in the middle of it. So I wanted you to hear this. I don't know if you've ever heard this song before. You tell me what you think of this. This is Red Hot Moon by Rancid. You're listening to Black Lung Show live on chaoticradio.com. Oh, we just need a second from B.
I wrote a song for my mama too.
We'll play that too if you want. We got some time.
It's called Mama when she died. Are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on. We're still on air right now. We got here we go.
Downtown to the graveyard shift tonight. Under the red hot moon, take a bus downtown to the graveyard shift tonight.
Casey's, California's got a reputation that she didn't ask for, but she's waiting for an escape now. That escape is called the 164. Now Casey, she don't want me where she is from. And Casey, she wants to run. She's a punk rocker, she don't trust no one. On a South Bay bus all day long.
Under the red hot moon, take a bus downtown to the graveyard shift tonight. Under the red hot moon, take a bus downtown to the graveyard shift tonight.
Casey would never caught up like the rest of the rats in a fucking maze. Check me out, she said, I'm in a concrete jungle. I'm an individual and you are stuck in a haze. Oh, hell no. She knows what the truth is, and she says so. And she knows who her friends are, so fuck you. Don't get no closer, it'll only make her run far away.
Under the red hot moon, take a bus downtown to the graveyard shift tonight. Under the red hot moon, take a bus downtown to the graveyard shift tonight.
I knew Casey's run up pretty well. Let's say I spent a lot of time hanging out. I always thought so that she'd be the one to get out of here and make a life for herself. But when we found her in the Little League Park, in the dugouts, it was cold, deep and dark, and no one knew why she wouldn't wake up. I think she finally made it back home. Now,
under the red hot moon, take a bus downtown to the graveyard shift tonight. Under the red hot moon, take a bus downtown to the graveyard shift tonight.
one time for your mind, two times for your soul, three for the graveyard and the money I fold. Dipped out in the city where the sun burns slow. No hope, it's a pity, I can't say no. Not my time to go, it's not my time to die. The last thing I want is for my mother to cry. It was love at first light, the very first night. Things have never been the same since I took my first flight. The way I live my life, I love, I live lavish. Lost me from the start, you lose, you'll never have this. Untouched, unleashed, back up, you don't want it. Sticking for his cash, his back, how we flaunt it. Take to him pass, I take to him blast. Bust a motherfucker, I'm out on the smash. Dipped out, high as fuck, I'm out of control. Let's bounce, rock, skate, man, I'm ready to roll.
And we're back with my guest, MC Sin, New York Dave. We've been talking about hip hop, and right now we've been talking about recovery. I just had to play a punk rock song for this show.
It was good.
Thank you. That's a Rancid ska influence. I actually got to share the stage with them one time back in 2001. I played with them on the Vans Warped Tour.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a crazy story. Probably a story for another show. What was What was the what was the craziest show you ever played? Was it the one for the president? I mean, I don't know how the fuck you can top that.
Nah.
No. I mean, and you also shared the stage with Run DMC. I mean, fuck, dude. What how about that? Not only a crazy. What was your favorite one? What was your favorite show that you've ever played?
You know, it probably wasn't rapping. It was probably when we were dancing.
Really?
Yeah, we were breaking. You know, and it probably was in Washington Square Park. Yeah, because I never forget. My boy had just we couldn't afford graffiti shirts, so he made a handmade graffiti shirt like this.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, and we had it. The shirt it said New York City Flash Dancers, and it was so colorful. So me and my boy, we had 3 girls show up, and we had 2 breakers show up, and we took the train all the way from the Bronx to Manhattan, you know, and we had the cardboard, and we had the boombox, and the park was packed out, you know, and like we just, we're gonna do this, you know, it was like the biggest thing ever, you know, and then we hit that play button, and we rocked it, man, and people gave us money, man, and you know, it was just awesome. It was like the best feeling of all time, you know, and out of that, they wind up taking the rest of the group to England to perform, and they left me behind because they said I was too high, and I was I don't know. I would be bad for them. I forgot what they called me. It was
You were a bad influence?
Yeah, that's what it was. They didn't want to take me because I was wild. You know, but it was my idea, and I'll never forget. That was probably my best show ever, you know, performing. You know, we had some phenomenal ones, yeah. And I rapped, and it was good, you know, and I had some, you know, exciting. I did one of the, not Knott's Berry Farm, like one of those big
theme parks?
Yeah, one of those theme parks up north, and it was like, you know, I couldn't stop seeing how many people showed up, you know, and I remember, you know, I have good ones, but when we were breaking, that was probably our best one, bro.
When you were riding the subway in New York, were there any gangs on the subway and they dress all fucking weird like the Warriors?
No.
I don't know, dude. I was a little kid back then, dude.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
No, man. Look, 79 to 80ish, hip hop, like gangs kind of died, man. Like everybody was doing hip hop. We
So
had
that movie was all
crews.
bullshit.
No, man, that's before.
Oh, okay.
That was like 60s.
I'm just checking. I don't know.
No, that's 100%. And even before that, there was a movie called Gangs of New York. You know, with what's Michael DiCaprio? If you see Gangs of New York, so there's always been like that. And they
Oh
were
no, I
dressed-
know
yeah.
that. I just
Yeah.
you know, because the Warriors, you know, those
Yeah.
gangs were dressed like fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody dresses in baseball fucking costumes and shit and fucking.
No,
paints
they,
their face.
they pushed it a little bit.
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
so,
They
man.
did push it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What time do we got, B? How much time do we got left in the show? We got 10 minutes? That's it? Damn. This show goes. That was 2 hours, man. Time goes by when you're having fun. You got to come back on here, man. We can talk some more. You know, I was thinking I'm gonna have some more guys from some more rock and roll bands and stuff like that. I don't know too many hip hop guys, dude. Just you. Maybe you can introduce me. We'll do some more hip hop shows. But I'm gonna definitely be doing some more shows. Shows about recovery. You know, not only in memory for my friend, but you know, it's surprising how many people you see that are posting up about depression and they've got problems that are using, you know, and they don't know where to turn. So I will say this out loud for you guys that are listening to. There are people out there that can help you. And reach out to Dave, look him up. I mean, what how can people get a hold of you? Your social media?
Well, anonymously speaking.
Well, I'm just saying it.
They could probably hook me up. Yeah, I'm on New York Dave on Facebook, bro.
There you go.
Message me.
That's what I'm saying. New York
Man,
Dave.
message me.
Message him
Yeah.
and get a hold of me, and we can point you in the right direction. You know, is there any other message you wanted to? Because we're running out of time. There's gonna be another show coming on here. I had a pleasure, dude. It's fun, and you know I love you, brother.
Yeah.
Anything else you
Yeah,
want to
well,
say?
you know, I'll go ahead and go with what you're talking about. If there's any listeners, and mainly it's when you hit pain, when you hit that emotional pain, you know, and because there are people like Robert Downey, you know, who got through it, but there's also Robin Williams, who went to 8 rehabs, and Robin Williams committed suicide, man, and he
Yeah.
was one of us too. So if you're listening and maybe you're going through some pain, even right now, this show's causing you pain, bro. You know, one of these guys torturing me, you know. But you know, you could get through it, man. You know, my mom died when I was there, in Switzerland, and I picked up the pen and I wrote, and I wrote this song in tribute to my mom through one of my worst pains. It was more pain than when my daughter was almost dead, and it was called Mama. So if you're going through pain, you could try to reach out to us. We'll help you get through it. And maybe I was hoping that you could play this last song.
Sure.
It's called Mama. And this is going to be in tribute to anybody who lost their mothers. And I dedicate the song to you guys, man. It was an honor to be on this show, bro.
Thank you very much, man. Anyway,
B-Boys for life.
For sure. I'm gonna have to break out the boom box and the cardboard after we leave here. Fucking break out some more rap moves. B, brother, it's good seeing you again. Thanks for fucking holding down the fort, dude. And you're amazing. Again, so that's the message. If you need help, if you don't, well, good luck to you. We'll talk to you soon, probably. I haven't seen too many people that can weather the storm. I used to look up, and this is how fucked up an addict's brain will work, right? Lemmy from Motorhead would drink, and you watch documentaries about this fucker, the meth and the drinking and all that stuff. And I was like, if Lemmy can fucking do it, he's still alive. He's not alive anymore. I used to think that. I used to look at these people and idolize them and be like, if this guy can fucking do this, then I'm not that fucked up, right? And that's that stupid ass mentality that you have. Trust me, it doesn't fucking end well. It's like a horror movie. They don't usually have good endings. But anyway.
That's a good point.
Anyway, you guys have been listening to the Black Lung Show. My guest was New York Dave, MC Sin. Do you plan on playing anymore at all? Or are you just gonna see where God takes you? Look at that, got the lingo down.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm doing. God's plan, right? Let's see where God takes you.
They're gonna do a movie, it's gonna come out, and I'm gonna have to stop, and I'm gonna have to support the album and go out there and start doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm gonna do recovery Christian rap stuff.
All right, I got you. You let me know what you got coming up, and we'll promote it here. Make sure you guys go out and support us at the SoCal Hoedown, which is going down Saturday, October 5th in San Pedro. That's San Pedro for white people. That's going to be the Necromantics. That's going to be the Dwarves. That's going to be Suicidal Tendencies. And that's actually one of the bands that got me through all my depression. You ever feeling all fucked up, listen to Suicidal. That'll help you out. Anyway, this is our last track. This is Mama. Oh no, we're gonna play one more B. We're gonna play Mama from is that from the last album?
Yeah.
And we're scrolling on Mama. There we go. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Black Lung Show. We'll see you next time. Just check out the Facebook page, and you never know who's going to be in studio next. We love you guys, man. Be safe out there.
She's gone, no longer around. Her voice, smiles, and even her frowns. She passed on to the next life. No more pain, no more strife. Her loving memories is all I got. Some pics, a post, and even a blog. The more I think about it, the more I cry. Cookie, your son Boo-Boo loves you. Goodbye.
Mama, where did you go? To that place on high. I feel all alone now that you're gone. Mama, where did you go?
Her name was Cookie from the Boogie Down. She had a heart of gold and she was known around town. Man, she could dance, man, she was loud. But guess what, yo, so am I, I made her proud. Maybe I'm like my mama, no really, I really am.